So
Yeah, so can you talk us through some of the missions you actually flew during Desert Storm? Because obviously you went on later for Bosnia, but maybe share a few from your time in Desert Storm. Yeah.
yeah, Desert Storm. So we were. I don't think I did any tarps work. I think it was just our dedicated tarps guys doing that. I was doing cap work, air to air. So right off the bat, we were. I was on the Teddy Roosevelt. Went to the Suez Canal, Red Sea, all the way around in the Persian Gulf, and we were stationed there. And we started off right without just doing like defensive caps, defending the carrier and still over water, going up north part of the Persian Gulf, keeping anything that's coming up, sweeping through. I think it was like whiskey one, whiskey two, whiskey four. I can't remember what the cap areas were called. And the guys were, making strikes. Our A6s and Hornets were making strikes, and our senior guys, not me, were doing, escort missions and stuff like that. And then our tarps guys, like one of my roommates, I was in a 6-man room, so 6 officers together. And funny enough, all 5 of the other guys were all pilots. That's on the Rio, but one of them was he was a dedicated tarps guy. Maybe 2, but one of them. But anyway, he was going over the beach a lot and doing a lot of that stuff. And the whole, highway to hell. A lot of those photos you see of the highway to hell, we took
Yeah.
those photos.
Oh wow.
Those guys did that. And then within maybe a couple of weeks, now we're pushing in and going feet dry and going up into Iraq and capping up there, just south of Baghdad and over to Lille and going into Basra. And you'll never forget your first combat mission. You'll never forget your first mission going over the beach. Just that was actually, we did a lot of night work, but that was a day trip, day flight, and you can see the land coming. You're like, okay, doing your stuff, doing what you got to do, focus, and then that land's getting a little closer, and then pretty soon you're over the land. And we call it, it's probably politically incorrect now. We call it Indian country, which I don't think is politically incorrect in my mind. It was Indian country, and all of a sudden you're over the beach and you're over land and you're kind of looking in the mirrors. You're seeing that water's getting further, because once we're over water, if you're a couple miles at sea, you got shot down or something like that. Hey, someone's going to rescue you. They're not going to capture me. But over ground you are, and pretty soon you can't see the sea anymore. And you're like, man, I'm in Indian country here, and this is serious. So it
Yeah.
gets the blood pressure up a little bit, gets heart rate up a little bit, but after a while you get used to it. And but yeah, so we were doing a lot of stuff. We were all in the southern sector. There were guys, the Eagle guys up and out of Incirlik and stuff in Turkey. We're doing a lot of the northern stuff down from, but we stayed on the southern piece of it there. And then there through the ground invasion, that was interesting too. Talking about being a young guy, the first day of the ground invasion, I was arguing with Augie. We were way up north, getting close to Baghdad, and I look down and I can see helos down there. And I can see them visually. And I call them off. I didn't see them initially, and I call them off the AWACS. And I think I called like there were 16 of them or something like that. I saw stacks of these. I mean, like, holy crap! There's a lot of, and we're ready to go shoot these guys down. We don't know good guys, bad guys. And Augie gets tally and immediately jumps on the AWACS as -8. He whispers to me over the intercom, "Hey, those are shadows you're looking at." I'm like, Elo and a shadow. So if you see,
Yeah.
there's 2 things you're looking at there. But we called them all off, and then they said friendly. And I remember I thought, wow. And Augie thought the same thing too. We were like, holy smokes, man, we are way up north here,
Mm.
and I'm feeling nervous, but I can go supersonic and get out of here pretty quick. These guys.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of respect for those guys. It was interesting, but
So, like during Desert Storm, would you be working with other nations closely, or was it kind of just like Navy? That's it. You just did your thing, or would you be working closely with the RAF or the U.S. Air Force?
we'd see guys on the tankers a lot, right? I mean, we saw some of the French on the tankers, Air Force guys on tankers all the time, U.S. Air Force guys. I don't think. You know what? I tell you what, I did an intercept on Jags, 4 Jags. I remember they came out. We were doing a cap, and I caught them on the radar. And we also, the F-14 had a TCS, television camera system, and it would slave to the radar. And so, the beautiful thing about the Tomcat is we could see a long ways and we shoot missiles a long ways. The Phoenix way out, but you've got to have the ROE, the rules of engagement allow you to engage. So a lot of those rules take all that advantage away from you. But we see them, and and I don't know what they did. I don't know if they did anything wrong or anything, but the squawk wasn't coming up. And in the end, the AWACS did identify, but we identified them first, and they were Jags. And I can remember looking at it. I'm like, hey, they're Jaguars. And all of a sudden, they caught us, and they just start jinking, and flares and chaff are popping all out. And then the AWACS comes on and says they're friendlies, and we broke away, but I'm sure we scared the crap out of them. But it was a four ship of RAF Jags coming out of they were probably bombing up in Basra. It was up in that area there. But I didn't do any escort with any guys like that at all. We were pretty much, the great thing about the carrier and the air wing is we had two Tomcat squadrons, two F-14 squadrons, two A-6 squadrons. We had a lot of firepower right there that we were we don't need anybody else, right? We got our own tanker support. We don't need anybody else. So we kind of stayed together with that.